Hello everyone, I will be doing a preview for the Ockey and French 2014 article, From One to Multiple Accents on a Test of L2 Listening Comprehension. So for this preview, I'll be focusing on the key terms and concepts found in this article. For the first key term and concept will be constructive accent. And this is the main focus of the lit review. And basically the main point to get out of the lit review was that there's many different definitions that linguists give to the term accent. There's not one agreed upon a definition in the linguistic field. So, for example, Ockey and French talk about how some linguists try to delineate different linguistic features that make up an accent. For example, some linguists look at differences in pronunciation, vowel and consonant variations, stress and intonation patterns, and they look at how these factors influence and combine to shape an accent. On the other hand, there's also sociolinguistic linguists who look at accent and look at how listeners judge how different it is from their variety and how comprehensible is the accented speaker. So, like I said, in the sociolinguistic linguists, they focus more on listener judgments. And these listener judgments are made based off of the strength of accent scale, which is actually used in the study. And for the strength of accent scale, they're judging on a Likert scale the salience, comprehensibility, and processing time for the given accent. And like I said, that's in Appendix A if you want to look at the specific questions they ask the test takers. And the other term I have is strength of accent. What is strength of accent? Well, it's the degree to what it is judged to be different from the local variety and how this difference impacts comprehension of the listeners who are familiar with the local variety. So again, looking mainly at comprehensibility and difference between the local variety. So they're using those listener judgments to determine it, rather than focusing on the linguistic features themselves. So the next term I have is Standard United States English for the TOEFL IBT. Currently in the TOEFL IBT, they only use one, what they deem standard variety of English for the United States. And what Ockey and French propose actually to change the construct to incorporate a wider range of English accents, because it's more likely that one person that's living in and going to university in the United States, they're going to interact with people with a wider range of English dialects. So it's important that they can understand and interact with those people. So the other thing they talked about a lot in this article, what does a TOEFL listening portion look like? And to give you an idea of what a TOEFL IBT is, for those of you who did not take the TOEFL, I have a sample YouTube clip. You see a link to it right below the term TOEFL listening test. And this video has a sample lecture and comprehension questions from a TOEFL IBT. So you can watch that if you want to get a feel of what a TOEFL listening portion is like. And for the TOEFL listening portion, there are 3 blocks: a lecture, an interactive lecture, and a conversation between 2 speakers. And after listening to each portion, there are comprehension questions. The focus of this article is the lecture, and because they had speakers of Australian and British English read the lecture, and they're seeing how that affected the comprehension of the test takers taking the TOEFL. They also gave the test takers the accent familiarity questionnaire, which is found in Appendix B if you actually want to read the actual questions they used. And this was basically to determine the test takers' experience with British and Australian accents, how much familiarity do they have with them, how much exposure do they have them to in general. And they also were looking at face-to-face communication, communication through media, and communication with a teacher with Australian and British English, because that's what they were using in this study. So the last term I have is multidialectal constructive English comprehension. So there is actually, like I said before, in the conclusion, they make this proposal to change the TOEFL IBT to include a greater variety of accents. And they suggest they do this gradually over a period of time to become from monodialectal to be multidialectal on the TOEFL, because that's more likely what someone will face when they're living in studying in at a university in an English-speaking context. So that's basically my preview. You'll see on page 2 and 3 that I have some discussion questions for this article. So I would suggest you read through those questions, take a couple notes, so you're ready for the article discussion next week. So that will be the primary focus, is those discussion questions for next week's discussion over this article.